And the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades.
Unhinged Democrat AOC thinking she's going off on Trump when really it applies more to Biden today, and Democrats are silent on what Joe Biden is doing. Welcome to Exile. This is where the happy people are. Just remember the Democrats before.
Well, we're on the brink of World War III because Donald Trump took the worst possible option given to him in a slideshow.
It has to be dealt with very powerfully. This is a time where the United States needs leadership. We don't have leadership.
So I'm contrasting all of these Democrats freaking out under Trump, saying he's going to start World War III, with Trump being a great leader in a recent speech in Iowa. And then we're going to end on AOC. But every Democrat in this video is self-owning.
And the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades.
And they're in contrast to Trump being a sound, stable, conscious, normal leader.
In this country, we have begun to overestimate the dangers of impeachment and underestimate the dangers of a deranged president retaining control over a nuclear hyperpower.
But Israel is at war, and the United States obviously is going to stick with Israel, and strongly.
We cannot wait around while Donald Trump is in control of the nuclear weapon.
While Donald Trump is in control of the nuclear weapon.
The war happened for 2 reasons. The United States is giving and gave to Iran $6 billion, $6 billion, over hostages.
Your objection to potentially going into World War III cannot be procedural.
The biggest danger of the Trump presidency,
Lawrence O'Donnell is a nut,
is that we are always just a Trump whim away from nuclear war.
Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it?
I don't know.
Where's the hammer? Is it on the, go up on the other floor.
Lawrence O'Donnell, nothing to say, even though Biden just now funded with billions of dollars to Iran. And Iran, remember, they said that they would only spend it on humanitarian aid, but all money is fungible, meaning if you take this amount of money and you use it for human aid, then you can free up this money to use to attack Israel. And that's what they did. It's going to be exposed that all of these Democrats ended up funding all that violence more than Trump ever did. Trump brought peace to the Middle East.
They got 5 hostages. We got 5 hostages. Okay, that's the good news. The bad news is, and their hostages were tough, by the way, I have to tell you. That was, okay, let's assume they're doing just fine. But it was 5 for 5. But in addition to that, we agreed to free up $6 billion.
They say it's World War III, but I'm looking out my window. It's very quiet in those smoking craters out there.
And that is an absolute disaster. And I would not be at all surprised if part of that tremendous wealth that they just accumulated went into all of a sudden watching this level of aggression. They didn't have that level of aggression with me.
Has to be told that it's his job to avoid World War III.
One Democratic congressman sent me a note this evening and say this president wants this war.
A future administration needs to find a way to put an end to the forever wars.
They didn't have it. This would have never happened with me either. You know what wouldn't have happened? Ukraine wouldn't have happened. Taiwan and all this tough talk with Taiwan wouldn't have happened. And what's going on with Israel right now, people were shocked. I wasn't shocked because 2 weeks ago we gave them $6 billion.
In new normal, and the new normal is forever war.
Think of it. So we get 5, they get 5, but the difference is we have to give $6 billion. $6 billion! Does anyone know what a billion is? $6 billion. It's like it's water.
But there's a big difference between ending the forever wars, which he wants to do responsibly, and what seems to be President Trump's rather itchy Twitter finger.
And the only difference is, I believe, it's a difference between one president and another president.
The objective needs to be to end the forever wars.
These Democrats don't want to end the forever wars. They want to cover up for their guy no matter what. They'll declare this war a non-war. They'll just go, it's an aggression. It's a big nothing. Here's Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene on Twitter. The Democrat-controlled FBI is targeting Trump supporters and now considers approximately 30% of the country potential domestic terrorists. Now, this is where the Biden administration's been focusing their eyeball. They could have been listening to conversations, listening to intel coming out of Iran and Hamas, Palestine. They did not. Instead, they've been spying on Catholics, Christians, pro-lifers in America. That's where they're spending their time and money.
If Congress does not want to go to war, now is the time to start putting restraints on this president. And again, they've been giving him green lights all the way.
That's Eric Swalwell, who never saw a Chinese spy that he didn't want to go to bed with. Here's Glenn Greenwald. Now we have an article from one of the nation's most accomplished investigative reporters on how the Biden administration is abusing the powers of the FBI to target conservatives ahead of 2024. The FBI is coming after us in journalism and on our tweets and on our personal blogs who are pro-Trump, and they should have been going after Hamas and Iran and Palestine. They won't do it. Why? They're too busy saying Trump is the one that went nuts, and they themselves, the Democrats themselves, you do not want these people in power. They're okay, guys, it's time for the big boys to come in. Time to let Trump in here. Let the adults in the room. Biden needs to be put out to pasture. Put him on the ice floe. Let Nebuchadnezzar go graze on the yard.
It's because we're going to take on the military industrial complex.
You guys love the military industrial complex. Don't give me this stuff. They love it. Here's RNC research. Biden National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan last week, quote, "The Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades. Listen to this clown. Completely missed this buildup of Hamas right under his nose and the Biden administration's nose."
For now, the Iranian attacks against U.S. forces have stopped. Our presence in Iraq is stable. And the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades.
It never occurred to him that they're quiet, that the chatter shut off because they were about to launch an attack and didn't want to get caught. You guys are not capable of protecting our country.
And the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades.
Here's AOC completely losing it on Trump.
When it comes to unlimited war, we seem to be able to invent that money very easily.
And here she implies it's because of Trump's immorality that we have this unlimited war, and really it's Biden's immorality that is why.
And to me, it belies a lack of moral priorities that people have right now, especially the Republican Party.
Well, and that's why there are elections. They have consequences.
That's true. And you guys are about to find out what those consequences are. When we elect Donald Trump in 2024, I'm dug in exile.